Greetings. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel, A Very Good Life. My name is Aya, and we're going to continue our series on soul ties. We begin with doing a soul ties reading, and I also have a ritual included in those readings. If you actually watch the reading, the ritual of breaking the soul tie is in the description box. Today, we're going to be discussing the dark-sided father and his emotionally incestuous relationship with his daughter, which is the beginning of soul ties for many women. There's a lot of things I feel like, I know men feel like women are mysterious, but I also know that the nature of a woman is mysterious to a lot of women themselves. A lot of women don't really understand why they are the way they are. So we're going to talk about that a little bit at the beginning to give this conversation a bit of context. If you look at the symbols of the cross or the symbol of the ankh, it's a symbol of the phallus and the vagina. It's a symbol of masculine and feminine energy. You can also break it down to the enjoyer and the enjoyed. The masculine energy is the enjoyer. The feminine energy is to be enjoyed. This is why a lot of women naturally are inclined to be pleasers. Will do anything to be enjoyed by a man. This also includes the father figure in our life. It's called daddy's little girl, right? We look up to this man like he's a god. The same way we look up to our mother like she's a goddess. But today, we're going to be talking about the masculine, the dark-sided father. When you look up to masculine energy that's dark-sided, your natural feminine inclination to please also becomes dark-sided. The things that you're pleasing a dark-sided masculine man is false. You're not allowed to activate or trigger their low threshold for shame. A lot of times these men are unaccomplished. Yes, I'm talking about your fathers. Unaccomplished, maybe even really intelligent and smart and talented, but haven't really put their energies into themselves and into creating abundance and wealth for their families. So you're not allowed to ask for anything. It makes them feel bad. You're not allowed to say, Daddy, I want, Daddy, I need, or even emotionally, you're not allowed to ask for what you need and say, I need a hug, I need love. I remember growing up, my dark-sided stepfather, I told him that I did not feel loved. And he told me, what do you mean you don't feel love? I pay all the bills. That immediately shut me down. I also saw him very miserable, unhappy, and depressed often. It looked like he didn't want to be around. He didn't want a family. I often wondered why he even got married and had kids. I did not understand why someone would put themselves in that position. Oftentimes, the dark-sided father will put himself in positions that have the title of father and husband, but he doesn't have the integration of development. Being a parent, being in relationships is a stage of development, in my opinion. Not everyone is worthy, ready, prepared, and in sync with the archetypes that would allow for you to flow in happiness and joy with the responsibility of being, quote unquote, father, mother, husband, or wife. These energies are looked up to in society, and oftentimes people feed off of being titled these things, but they're not anywhere near prepared, ready, or even wanting the responsibility. They just want to look like they're involved in these types of images. That's called narcissism. I also have a biological father. I have had to have a talk with him and to let him know about my daddy issues and how he has affected my relationships. My biological father is also dark-sided. He is very talented and very smart, but I'm never allowed to bring up anything in the past. He used to beat my mom growing up, and he was a drug addict. He does not allow for me to talk about these things with him. What does this do in relationship for most women? Well, for most women, if you do one thing in one area of your life, you do it in every area of your life, especially with such a strong archetype of the father. That will lead you to walking on eggshells around the feelings of the man that you're with and treating him like a king, even if he's broken inside. Trying to make sure that you make him feel good, just like you do with your father. You don't want to make your father angry and upset, and you want to remain daddy's little girl in his eyes, and you don't want to sever the relationship. So you do whatever you can to make him feel comfortable, even if you're uncomfortable and miserable. This is the nature of the feminine energy, to please, to be enjoyed by the enjoyer. And so me talking to my father and telling him about my daddy issues and how it has affected my relationships, he wasn't happy. It wasn't pleasant. It was uncomfortable for him, but it was empowering for me. And now I often, when I see these patterns in other women with my clients, I challenge them to confront their fathers, whether they're alive or not, whether they are around or not. You can do this by writing a letter. You can do this just by being honest about your feelings. For some reason, the father archetype is often buried deep down inside, to the point to where a woman doesn't even know what her daddy issues are, that she has daddy issues. It's something that makes a woman go, do I have daddy issues? I do? I never even thought about it. For some reason, the father archetype has become, there's basically no accountability any longer in our society for men and who they are. They're allowed to be depraved. They're allowed to be ghost. They're allowed to be shrouded in darkness. It's almost the rule and expectation. Interesting. Is that a conspiracy? Is that propaganda? Because it's really hard for the women in society to hold up the light if the men are depraved. It's really easy, because of a woman's nature, to lead a woman astray. That's the creation of soul ties. A soul tie is a relationship that you get into that leads you astray. Doesn't lead you to feeling empowered. Doesn't lead you to doing the best things for yourself and making yourself happy. It leads you to pleasing a man's sexual urges while nourishing him and giving him the best of you. He's spiritually depleting you. He's spiritually murdering you, soul murdering you, and asking you to be involved in things that go against your conscience. That's not a leader. That's a coward. That's a coward who doesn't want to face their dark side and be held accountable for their karma. The audacity and the expectation. They often say, you ask for too much. You're a gold digger. Or these are men who are broken and who never had it in the first place to give. A person who has something to offer women, as you know, because women have oodles, a lot of women have oodles and bundles of love to offer, right? But if you don't have it to offer and to give, you would say, you're asking for too much. This is all I have to offer. Take it or leave it. That's what a lot of narcissistic women say. This is it. This is all you're going, and they mean it. And so if a man ever approaches you with the lingo of you're asking for too much, when you ask for your needs to get met, you don't cower back and put your tail between your legs and be like, I am. No. You say, oh, you must not have it to offer. My bad. I must be barking up the wrong tree. There's a language that people use to manipulate and get their way, you know, but that doesn't mean that you have to go along with it. And I feel it makes, even having to talk about these things makes me feel sad in my feminine energy, because I know that goes against a lot of women's natural inclination to want to please. Because what a lot of women will do is say, oh, okay, you don't have it. Well, I love you. I'll accept less. And that's a painful cycle to go into, because you end up working double time. You end up doing your role and also the role of the masculine. It reminds me of this picture I've seen where the woman, it has the man on her back, 5 children on her back, the groceries on her back. And it's not just Black women. I know in the conversation a lot of times is had with Black women, because we get painted as strong, you know. But I talk to women of all races, cultures, backgrounds, different from different countries, cities, states, all around the world. And I see this issue everywhere. The key is to stop babying your father and other men and let them be a man. That's one of the main points I give to the women I counsel. It's like, stop babying your father and treat that man like he's a man. He can handle it. He can handle the truth more than he lets on, and he needs to grow up. Okay? And so I know I can't cover everything, but I'm sure other people have something to say and something to add. So feel free to leave a comment. And if you would like to work with me on a one-on-one basis, my website is afairlygoodlife.com. And if you just want to email me and ask me questions about my services, you can go to ajaaya at afairlygoodlife.com is my email address. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate all of you, your wisdom, your love, your beauty, and your kindness. Peace.